hello to you both. Now, Owen, talk to me about the Queen's involvement in the Dogs Trust, because she is a patron of hundreds of charities. How special is it to have her involvement, and what does her involvement mean?
It means a huge amount. I mean, probably the nation's most famous dog lover, so as the nation's biggest dog charity, it's fantastic to have her involved. She's opened many of her centres over the years, but it's just the general passion that she shows for dogs that's actually really important for us, because we're all about promoting good dog welfare and the importance that dogs play in our life, and I think Her Majesty is a fantastic example of that.
Yeah, she retired a number of patronages a number of years ago, but she retained her patronage of the Dogs Trust, which signifies a very special bond between you and the Queen.
I think so, and we were very touched that she decided to stay with us. It was, you know, it's really important. Clearly, her love of dogs is something that we all know. Very famous for corgis. We don't get many corgis in our rehoming centres. It's more mixed breeds and staffies, but we love all dogs, and the Queen, I think, does too.
Laura Bundock, our correspondent, was down on the Mall earlier on this morning, and people had brought along their own corgis.
Yes.
Real corgis and stuffed corgis that I think you can get from the gift shop along here. Very popular selling item, I would imagine. Dame Louise, talk to me about Birmingham 2022 happening in a very significant year for the Queen, and it underlines her relationship, her strong bond with Commonwealth nations.
It does, when you think that in 60 days' time, the games will be starting, and hopefully Her Majesty will be able to open them, but we'll wait and see what happens. But when I think that it's only 6 months ago we were actually handing the baton over to Her Majesty in Buckingham Palace to put the message in, to send it around the Commonwealth, to make sure that all the athletes knew that they were going to come in to Birmingham. So Birmingham's really getting very exciting, and the place is really looking good.
Yeah. And in terms of the baton, where is it now? Because that's a huge operation. It's very symbolic, because obviously all of the Commonwealth wants to be linked together for these games. So it's a big operation.
Well, it's coming in from the Caribbean today. We've rerouted it to come into Heathrow today to have this weekend in London for the Queen's Jubilee, because we just felt that she's here, everybody's here, they might as well have some share in the baton as it's going around. So we're arriving today, and it's going out to Malta on Monday night, Tuesday morning after we're finised.
And are we ready in Birmingham? Is Birmingham ready?
Birmingham's ready.
Yeah, it will be a very big occasion in the Platinum Jubilee calendar, won't it?
Absolutely. We've got, well, put it this way, we've got very few tickets left. The place is sold out, and the athletes are really in the last throes of training to make sure that they can qualify and come. And the excitement's building throughout the Commonwealth for this, and the baton set really building that excitement for it too. The photography coming out of that, superb.
Oh, it's a very exciting time. It's a very exciting year, and a great way to commemorate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Owen and Dame Louise Martin, thank you so much for joining us. How will you be continuing the celebrations this weekend, if you don't mind me asking?
Working.
Working.
With the baton.
Yeah, of course, following the baton. So many people working this weekend, you won't be alone.
Yeah, well, we've still got 1,500 dogs to look after, so it doesn't stop. But yes, we'll take some time to celebrate as well in all of our centres, as well as across everything we do.
Yeah, an honourable mention actually to everybody who is working this bank holiday weekend. It's not a full 4 days off for quite a few people, but a lot of people will be able to join in the festivities via the magic of TV. You can watch it on Sky News. We've got full coverage of everything that's happening up and down the country, and of course across the Commonwealth. Thank you to you both.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your weekends. Thank you. Well, we're continuing to watch what is going on Horse Guards Parade. In fact, if you just listen, I think there is... just...
Windsor Castle, where she had that small team around her, HMS Bubble, and we know that she loves Windsor, don't we? We know that that's one of her places that she is happiest. And so I think, obviously, with the new photograph that we saw of the Queen, that was taken at Windsor, her looking quite relaxed, not entirely regal, which I think was quite nice, kind of a grandmotherly feel to that photograph.
Yeah, very much so. That's the first time we've heard God Save the Queen today, the first of many occasions over the weekend, I'm sure. And Dame Louise Martin, President of the Commonwealth Games Federation, she was still here when that was playing, so it was quite emotional. And I think it will be an emotional weekend for a lot of people, Rhiannon, particularly the older generation.
Yeah. Look, you can't get away from the fact that for some younger people, they do have mixed feelings about the royal family, and I think especially some of the issues that have happened with the royal families themselves, it has had a knock-on impact on their reputation. But I think there are still an enormous number of people across the country, across the Commonwealth, across the world. I feel like I shouldn't speak over this applause.
Just as you mentioned, appreciation.
Exactly. And here, obviously, appreciating the amazing military spectacle that we're going to see. There is a huge amount of respect for her. She is truly a unique figure on the world stage. And so for her, this is a big weekend, yes, for her to mark 70 years on the throne, the first British monarch. And they will eventually all, as we know, set off down the Mall, accompanying various members of the royal family. So what we have been seeing is cars going into Buckingham Palace with various members of the family inside, where they will get into carriages and then they will process down the Mall. Of course, at about 11 o'clock, the focus will then be on Horse Guards Parade, where we will see other members of the family. And I think that has, of course, been another big talking point, is who...
Rhiannon, we're just watching the final preparations for trooping the colour. Again, so many people assembled there. It really is a cast of thousands today. More cars arriving. Who have we not seen arrive yet?
So in that minibus, I would anticipate that, and this is purely guesswork because we can't see in the windows, but I suspect it's likely to be people like the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, the Duke and Duchess of Kent, and potentially some of the Queen's grandchildren. So Zara Tindall and her family, and Peter Phillips and his family. They, of course, will not be travelling in carriages. So it is guesswork, but in the past, for example, for Prince Philip's memorial, we saw a number of them arrive in a minibus. But it's going to be interesting as well to see, we were talking about Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. Of course, the Queen has many more great-grandchildren, and so it'd be interesting to see whether or not we see any of Zara's children, for example, or Peter's children. And also, of course, the big talking point this weekend is the fact that, yes, Harry and Meghan are over, but they've also, we understand, brought with them their children Archie and Lilibet, so the Queen's namesake. And no members of the royal family have met Lilibet before. So it's going to be interesting across those few days to find out when exactly we see Harry and Meghan's children.
And Lilibet turns 1 over the course of this weekend.
Yes, on Saturday. So it's a big weekend for them. And I think, of course, they have become a quite controversial couple in this country. We can't get away from that. But I think it's worth saying that Harry and Meghan have consistently talked about their love and respect for the Queen. And the Queen has constantly talked about them as much-loved members of the family. And yes, we have all the official pomp, pageantry and the ceremonial. But at the centre of this is a family, and a family who, like us, want to celebrate what is an incredible achievement for the matriarch of that family. And so it's only right that they are with her. In the past, Prince Edward, her son, said to me that they are always the supporting cast. And that's exactly what they'll be again today, as we now know that we are going to see the star of proceedings on 3 separate occasions.
behind the scenes, Rhiannon, what happens in terms of it's very much a family affair, and we will see them at certain points over the weekend, as you've outlined. But once they leave that balcony today, is there a family party behind the scenes?
They normally have a bit of a lunch at Buckingham Palace, and then of course we know that the Queen tonight is going to be involved in the beacon lighting ceremony, so around 9:30. So she will eventually head back to Windsor. But yeah, I think they do see it as a family get-together. Yes, for some of it, we're all watching. For example, when they're all out there on the Major General's balcony, the body language experts are going to have an absolute field day, because they always do.